I have been enjoying that and taking advantage and seeing like, okay, does this work right now? Does that work? But now there's a clock, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
February anymore.
Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the LSAT Doctor. This is a series where we meet with a student and talk about some of their weaknesses in their study journey and how we can address those with specific drills or exercises. So today we're here with Emily. Go ahead and tell me kind of where you're at in your studying, Emily. What are some of your weaknesses you want to get addressed here?
Well, thank you for having me. I am an avid Seven Sage podcast listener and YouTube watcher. So thank you. And
I
I have
love
watched
it.
many of your classes on the live class library. So thank you. I
Yay.
feel like I need logical reasoning, doctor. So with RC, before I started the curriculum, I was at like a 157 diagnostic. And both my reading comprehension and my logical reasoning were not great. I mean, they were fine, but they were just not ideal. It felt terrible taking the test, right? It was very
Mm-hmm.
hard. After the curriculum, reading comprehension clicked into place. Like I know what that feels like, to feel like I'm locked in and I know what I'm doing. Maybe I miss a couple of points every section, but I feel like I really know how to hone in and get into those passages and answer them correctly for the
Good.
most part.
Awesome.
And with logical reasoning, the core curriculum helped a lot, but it feels like whack-a-mole still in terms of I fix my causal reasoning, for example. I feel like really good about strengthening with causal reasoning. And then suddenly my flaws drop. Like
Mm.
I can't remember the hard flaws. It feels really bad still when taking the test. And I know this test is
Mm-hmm.
not enjoyable, but with reading comprehension, I lock in and I have a flow state, right? And I'm reading really deeply and then I just answer the questions and I'm on to the next one. With
Mm-hmm.
logical reasoning, it feels like I start like picking up my pace and then I trip and twist my ankle. And then I'm like,
Mm.
okay, I can still do this. And then I'm kind of going
Mm-hmm.
back and then I twist my ankle again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm missing like, 7, 8, 9 in logical
Mm-hmm.
reasoning still, even though when I'm in the classes, I feel so good about it. I'm right there with
Mm-hmm.
you. I'm answering them correctly. And it's just when I get into that practice environment, it feels not great. So my goal score on test day is a 165.
Okay.
I get a 162, if I get a 167, I'm pretty sure that my like dream law school is would accept me. If I
Mhm.
apply early enough, I've got my letter, blah blah blah. I really just want to feel better and feel like my understanding of the logical reasoning, concepts and fundamentals match how it feels and how I perform when I'm actually taking a test.
Mhm.
So
Okay, great.
that's where I am. Thanks for
So
listening.
that's of course, yeah. That's a very understandable issue. It's something about like the anxiety of seeing the timer running down in front of you that makes
Yes.
the test feel so different than like in class. Even if I give you guys only like 2 minutes for a poll,
Right,
it feels
right.
very different. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So we want to do things that help us battle that like timing anxiety. So one drill that I would highly recommend implementing on like an everyday, well, not every day you study basis, doesn't have to
Yes,
be every
yeah.
single day, of course, would be something we call an X in X drill. So have you ever done one of these before, like in the speed drills class or something like
Yes.
that?
I can do
Yeah.
15 and 15, no
Oh, wow.
problem. Nope,
Really?
like, I can do and it's like the first 15, I can. Now I miss a couple,
Hmm.
is my accuracy is not great, but I feel fine when doing the 15 and 15. And then at some
Okay.
point in that 15, I hit a hard one, something's tricky, I don't like it, my pre-phrase didn't work, and it's kinda downhill from there. But I've only done,
Hmm.
like, 2 15 and 15s in my
Have
study
you done
history.
any smaller sets? Like
Yes, but, like, 10 and
7 or,
10, like
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I
That makes
have, but
sense.
not a lot, so I definitely can do more.
Mm.
I've not tried
Okay.
the harder ones, though. I haven't done, like, the 10 harder ones in what would
Mm.
that be, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Or
Um, okay, that makes sense. So it almost sounds like your confidence is great. Like you say, you get into a flow and whatnot. So if you say 15 and 15 seems okay, like
mhm,
pace wise, it's more so like once you hit a tough question that it kind of just throws you for a loop. So
mhm.
okay, I'll stand by the fact of
Yeah,
every day
yeah,
you
yeah,
study
yeah,
to
yeah.
do a warm up of
Okay,
some X in X. You don't necessarily have to do 15 and 15 every
okay.
time. I think even like 7 and 7 is worthwhile,
Okay.
or That's what I would start with, because in
Okay.
the 7 and 7 you won't reach usually like a really crazy question yet, so it'll be just more like building up the flow. So on
Mm-hmm.
test day, at least the first 7 maybe fly by without you twisting your ankle like that. So I would work on 7 and 7 every day that you study, and
Okay.
then maybe you can increment it up. Once you are able to do 7 and 7 like 3 or 4 days in a row, missing no questions at all,
Okay.
that's when
Yeah.
I would level up to 10 and 10, and then etc. So in
Right.
terms of challenging questions and how you can avoid getting really tripped up. So you're already doing fantastic things by going to like advanced live classes where we do
Mhm.
advanced classes. You can also you can also just do some focused drilling on each study day of
Okay.
specifically challenging questions if you don't already do that. So um, instead of, let's say, like doing a huge set of questions like 15 to
Mhm.
20, or doing like a full PT or a full section, doing a focused drill, so maybe like 5 to 7 questions that are all above 3 star or 4 star of a area that challenges you. They don't all have to be the same, so they don't all have to be flawed, but maybe
Okay.
you could follow a pattern. So like if you want to work on spotting the gap questions, for example, you could do a set
Yeah.
of like
Yeah.
flaw, weakening, necessary assumption,
That would
and
be good.
make yourself a mix of like 7, and they're all challenging. And that way, every day, or every LR day, for example, you can work in some concepts. And I would make sure you keep track of your takeaways after. So, like, okay,
Okay.
after this drill, I've taken away the fact that I need to avoid traps that do XYZ or something like that. And then maybe try the same
Mhm.
drill the next day and see if you can implement those takeaways. So, specifically challenge drilling on your areas of weakness. Um, I wouldn't, if you're at that area where you're feeling kind of unconfident on full LR sections, I remember in your email, I wouldn't jump straight to doing full LR sections now.
Okay.
I would want to solidify your weaknesses. And then once you feel really confident on all
Mm.
those question types that trip you up, then try a full LR section. Because doing the full
Mhm.
LR section is more so like a time exercise and not so much to teach you any one specific
Okay.
skill. So if you want to
Okay.
master a skill first, I would master it first, then switch to doing full sections. So
Okay.
focused drilling, things like the first 7 and 7 when you warm up. And another thing that I think would be really helpful, it sounds like you already do something like this, is like pre-phrase oriented work.
Mhm.
So something you could do would be like a pre-phrase drill, where essentially you are covering up the answer choices, reading the stimulus. This is untimed. You come up with your best possible predictions of like, here are some gaps in the argument, like the flaws, for example. Since you say sometimes you forget like some of the flaws, it would be a great time to just cover your answer choices. Even if you like having the sheet next to you, spot the flaw, write it down, then look at your answer choices. And if you notice that sometimes you don't predict it at all, like the answer choice was not anything you predicted,
Yeah.
make notes of that. Like, okay,
Okay.
my takeaways is when I have an argument like this, I should pay close attention to this gap or this
Mhm.
potential gap. Um, or if your pre-phrasing is going really well, right, you're matching super well, then that's a good sign of improvement. Maybe level up to something more difficult. So
Okay.
that's a really
Thank
good
you.
way to test content.
So thank
Um,
you. That helps. And I think the pre-phrase it's so hard for me. I said in my email, I
mm,
only recently started doing this, and
mhm,
I can tell how powerful it is already, but also because it's so hard.
mhm,
I think maybe this speaks to a broader mindset and approach issue that I've had is I am just like obsessed with this test and with logical
mhm,
reasoning in particular. It feels like a puzzle. I love it. I want to do more and more and more questions. And then I borderline on burnout, especially when it's not going great.
mm,
And I don't slow down. Like I just
mhm,
sprint right out of the gate. And again, like with the twisted ankle
mhm,
metaphor that I could beat to death, that really throws me because I'm like,
mhm,
man, this is feeling so good. And the pre-phrasing feels slow. Blind review also, I'd love to hear your take on blind review. I'm terrible at blind review. I will blind review like one section or just like the questions that I've flagged along the way, which are only like 3 in any given practice test. Then I'm like, it seems fine. Everything's fine. I just want to see my score. Oh no,
mhm.
yet again, I missed 8 questions on logical reasoning.
Yeah,
So slowing down has been a constant issue for me throughout my studying journey. And I don't know if you
yeah.
have any tips on how to work on that.
That's really understandable. You sound kind of like myself. Like I felt the same way, that I was so excited to
Yeah,
study and
yeah,
it was sometimes really fun. and then I would just do too much, and I would never blind review, which I know is terrible for all the
Yes.
listeners, because I was just too impatient and I wanted to see
Okay.
my score. So I totally
That makes me
understand.
feel better. Thank you.
It's very common for sure.
Okay.
Blind reviewing, the reason JY drills it so hard in the curriculum is because it's so unnatural and nobody wants to do that, but we try to really push that it's
Okay.
helpful. So,
Okay.
ways to slow down. One thing would be, as much as it feels difficult, to set a cap on how much you're studying every day. So
Okay.
I don't know if you mean slow down by like you spend hours and hours and hours, but there is definitely like a threshold. And when you go over that threshold, at that point, any more studying is maybe not going to be the most beneficial.
Okay.
So I would set yourself a cap. Like, I'm only going to study for like
Mhm.
2 or 3 hours. It doesn't even have to be a time. It could be a number of drills. Like, I'm going to just do 4 drills today or 3 drills today. And another thing that helps is every day having a very specific
Okay.
goal.
Yeah. Okay.
So every day you study, it could be super niche, like super minute. Like, today, I'm going to feel better about most strongly supported
Mhm.
questions. I hope I get one more right today.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
it could be grand. Like, today, I want to finish an entire section, 3 minutes faster than I did yesterday. So
Mhm.
focusing on one goal every day, so that you're not just like jumping all over the place, switching, all of your materials, and then
Yeah.
feeling like you're burnt out and you've like kind of dipped a little bit in each pot and made
Mhm.
mistakes in lots of places. It's like not great for morale, I feel like, when you just
Yes.
like
Yes.
are
Totally.
struggling in one thing and you're like, let me just switch gears. Then maybe you struggle a little bit there, then you switch gears and you're just like on a struggle bus that day. So I would have specific goals,
Mhm.
line up your drills, be like, okay, for this specific goal, I'm going to do 4 things today or 3 things. I'm going to do a 7 and 7. I'm going to watch, like go to a MSS class. Then
Yeah.
I'm going to do a drill of 8 really challenging MSS questions, or maybe even I'll finish with a set of 3 really easy ones, and now I'm done. So
Mm.
something like that. And you can mix RC and LR too. Like, you can have like
Okay.
a
Okay.
goal for RC and LR, or you could do one day at a time. Doesn't really matter, as long as you're keeping your goals very specific. Um,
Mhm.
so that's one way to force yourself to slow down. Now, to your point about blind review, which I know is like painful and no one likes to do it. Now, I'm not going to tell you have to blind review every single question, because I know that's
Okay.
kind of like unrealistic
Okay.
for, people like us that just want to get
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what I will say is, as you're doing your drill, and you can blind review for any timed drill. So
Okay.
even like
Okay.
a seven
Yeah.
and seven
Yeah.
drill, you could blind review. A set of when you do a full LR section at some point, you can blind review. It doesn't have to only be the PT. As you're going through the questions, I would put one of those little blue flags at the bottom of any question that you're not 100% confident on your answer.
Okay.
If you're
Okay.
90%, flag. 80%, flag. If you
Okay.
guessed, of course, flag. If you're 100% sure that you're right, no flag. And then
Okay.
blind review, only the ones you flagged. So, and blind review doesn't have to be like redo the whole question again. It could also just be go back between the 2 answer choices you were choosing between or something, convince yourself why the wrong one is wrong or something, or
Okay.
why the right one is right. Um, so definitely focus on flagging questions. This will also be helpful because even if, let's say, you flag a bunch of questions and it turns out you were right, it still gives you important information. Because if you realize, oh snap, like it seems like I'm less confident on this type of question, but I'm still getting it right, then maybe that's where you could switch to doing something like a confidence drill. You do like a set of 10 questions, like whatever that question type is.
Mhm.
Let's say MSS, since I'm going with it. MSS questions,
It's a good one.
and you're picking your
Yeah.
first answer instinctually and then go straight to the next. And now, hopefully, you work up your confidence so you're still correct, but you're like, yeah, I'm 100% confident, and it gives you less like anxiety later in testing. So yeah, flagging anything you're not
Mhm.
100% confident on, going back and blind reviewing only those questions, and then
Okay.
looking for patterns. What are things that I flagged and I still got them right? Or, things I flagged and I got them wrong. If I got it wrong, then that would be good for like a content drill. If I
Okay.
flagged and still got it right, that would be good for like confidence drilling. Just work up your confidence, even though you already have a really good grasp of the material anyway.
Okay. Thank you so much. That is I've been yes, I have been dabbling and I've done some challenge drills just to level up my abilities, but I have not really honed everything in and tried to nail it, like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank
Mm-hmm.
you. And I guess so my final question, trying to wrap this up, together in terms of the June test. So we're
Mm-hmm.
recording, in April 11th, and
Mm-hmm.
I am PTing at like a 164. Again, the strength from that score mostly comes from my reading comprehension, and
Mm-hmm.
the logical reasoning I'm still missing, a solid number of the 5-star questions, and then just like a handful of stupid mistakes, really just
Mm-hmm.
not reading every answer choice, getting not getting it, it's just like flat out not getting, and I'm not skipping enough. I know that skipping
Mm-hmm.
is a really important strategy. I need to incorporate that more. But let's say, I'm studying for 5 days a week for the next 6 to 7 weeks. And
Mm-hmm.
I do want to get more comfortable taking full PTs.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be a reasonable goal to say, okay, like four more PTs before I take this June test while focusing more on these drills instead of just, you know,
Yes.
yeah,
So how many
doing the
weeks
PT marathon
exactly?
every day.
Is
Yeah.
it 7 weeks until the exam,
I
like you
know
said?
it's June 7th, I think, is the last day of the LSAT. So I'm not sure what I'll have
Okay.
yet, but let's say 7 real weeks, and
Got it.
maybe
Okay.
it's like 8
Yeah. So
weeks. Yeah.
7 to 8-ish weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what I would recommend. You're right. You would not want to run a PT marathon every day. You want to
Yeah.
save PTing for like the last 4 to 5 weeks before
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So if you're going with well, you seem to be very like motivated and be able to do a lot. So you could even be somebody who does like 2 PTs a week. Usually we say like
Okay.
1 PT a week,
Yeah.
but if you're feeling like you're having lots of fun studying and like it's
Yeah.
enjoyable for you,
Love
two
PTs. Yeah.
PTs,
Yeah.
yeah, 2 PTs a week is honestly pretty reasonable. So
Okay.
you can save, let's say the last, let's give it a cushion. 4 weeks,
Mhm.
4 weeks of that window for just PTs. Maybe the
Okay.
first week you just do 1 PT, those other weeks you do 2. The reason I'm giving it so long is just because we usually recommend at 7 stage that you sit for the test only after you've been able to do 5 PTs in a row at your target. So,
Mhm.
or I mean, it could be like within a range, right? Like not exactly at your target, but
Yeah.
somewhere around
Yeah.
there. So I would leave yourself those whole last 4 weeks to PT,
Okay.
like twice per week, meaning like once every 3 to 4 days.
Right.
And once I mean, ideally you'll get to the point where like 4 to 5 in a row of them, you're somewhere in that like highish mid to high 160s.
Mhm.
And then you feel really confident for test day. So you know you're not going to like over or under shoot that much from the
Yeah.
target.
Okay.
Um, so that gives you like 3 or 3.5 weeks now to just hone in on like specified drills. So that's where I would each
Mhm.
day have your goal. I mean, honestly, it could be a really good study day for you to do exactly what we just described. Basically, warm up with your 7 and 7, make yourself a drill of challenging mixed questions,
Mhm.
depending what you want to work on that day. Go back, blind review them. Whatever you flagged and got right, do a
Okay.
confidence drill. Whatever you flagged and got wrong, save that. Like, that'll be my goal for tomorrow. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to work
Mm.
on that or
Okay.
something like that.
Okay,
So
cool.
you're
Yeah.
always evaluating your confidence every day on a certain question type.
Mhm.
And then since you say you already feel really confident on RC, you could really just hammer LR in this time. You can say, for
Mhm.
example, oh, every day I study, I'm going to do one RC section, or I'm going to do
Sure. Okay.
2 RC passages or something like that. So you could practice some RC. Doesn't even have to be every day, but you're still like hammering LR as much as possible. Uh, since, yeah, it seems like that's really the target here for these last few weeks. And then when you get to I would do that, like kind of the situation I'm describing here for like a week or two. Then you might want to switch to doing a full LR section and see where you're at. So
Okay.
do a full LR section and see, okay, am I still in the same -6 to 7 range, or have I improved a bit? I'm in like the -3 to 4 range. Get your analytics there. And from there, maybe decide, okay, I'm going to do one more week of focused drilling.
Mhm.
Or if you're feeling really good on LR sections, then that might be time to like, okay, let me transition to some more full practice tests.
Okay.
I would give yourself like a week somewhere in the middle of that transition there where
Mhm.
you're doing more like full sections, not full PTs. Just because
Okay.
it could be a little bit intimidating to go straight from drills to full
Yeah.
PTs like multiple times a week. So I would have one week where you're just doing full LR sections and blind reviewing those as your like main exercise of the day. Like I warm up, full LR section,
Mhm.
blind review, then whatever little extra drill you want to do, and
Mhm.
that's your study day. And then switch to PTs. Um,
This is
you could
amazing.
even,
Thank you
oh, I'm glad. You
so
could even
much.
do like a deconstruct. I like to call it like a
Yeah.
deconstructed PT where you do like a full LR section, take a break, whatever, go eat lunch, come back, do
Mhm.
another LR section. So
Okay.
you're still
Okay.
doing the same like volume of questions, just not as anxiety inducing because you're not like sitting for 3 hours,
Right.
but you're
Right.
still practicing like 50 LR questions that day. So you could do something like that. So sorry, I know I'm saying so much, but to recap, first few weeks right now would be just like targeted drilling, focusing on confidence building in like smaller
Yep.
sets.
Yep.
Then you have a week or so of transition where you're doing full LR sections, not PTs, just the sections and blind reviewing. Then once you feel confident there, then I would incorporate them into full PTs. And along the way, you could just like be reinforcing RC every day or every other day that you study with like a section or whatnot. So you're not losing those skills or anything. I
Great.
feel like I had
Thank you
something
so
else.
much.
Oh, I'm glad you find it helpful.
It
Yay!
is so helpful because right now there's so much, at your disposal when you're studying for the LSAT in terms of resources. I mean, even just 7 Sage alone, like I could go back through the curriculum. I could do live classes. I could do all sorts of different drills. And I have been enjoying that and taking advantage and seeing like, okay, does this work right now? Does that work? But now there's a clock, right? It's not February anymore. It's April. And then, just my last question, it seems like if I follow this, I would use up, maybe 4 more PTs. I think I would still be left with like 4 to 8 clean PTs. So if June comes around and I just, I haven't decided, maybe I get my score and I'm in the low 160s and that's enough. But I know I'm not going to be satisfied with it. I'm going to want to take that again and try to do better. What do you think about, and I know I said the last question was my final question, so sorry.
That's okay. I'm in no hurry, so it's
Okay,
fine.
thanks. What do you think about the time difference between a June and an August LSAT? Like it feels like if I go, let's say I just want to try one more time. I feel good about my score, but not great about it. Can I even make up that kind of a point difference, between June and August, like in one summer?
I think it's possible, but as long as, which I don't think will be a problem for you, right after the exam, you still keep studying.
Okay.
Because some people wait till they get their score, which is going to take like until June 20, whatever, 24 or something. I forgot what date it is, or 28 or something. And then the registration date for August will be like literally the same week as you get your score back.
Yes.
So once you see your score, you're like, oh crap, well, now I have like 1 month left to study. And then it's going to be really difficult to make up points.
Okay.
So if you leave the test center and you're feeling like, oh snap, there's a chance I didn't do so hot, then what I would do is just keep studying those 3 weeks till you get your score. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be like as hard as possible
crazy.
every day, 5 hours.
Yeah.
But just keep up the skills. Maybe that means you take another 1 or 2 PTs. Maybe that means, or okay, if you don't want to waste the PT actually, if you're running low on them, maybe that just means taking full LR sections or RC sections, and they don't have to be clean ones. They can be like older ones as long as you're doing the full section.
Got it.
So things like that and focus drills, maybe you just like, or even you don't study one day, you just attend a class or something so that you're not losing the momentum. And then once you get your score back, if you just wasted a couple weeks, then I mean, okay, it's not the worst thing. At least you had fun. And if you do have to retake, at least you kept the momentum going, and now you have like a month to keep doing PTs weekly. So if you do end up having to retake, which you can always email me, I'm always here to answer people's questions anyway, and I'll be here. So you can always let me know at any time. But if you do have to retake, what I would do is, and this is what I should have said earlier. When you're in your PT phase, in between the PTs, you could still be doing focus drilling, right? So like you do your PT, you blind review it, the flagged questions, you look at your analytics and you identify like, these are the things that I didn't do well on. So then maybe you spend the 2 days or whatever in between just doing a couple of those like scattered drills. Doesn't have to be crazy, but just doing a little bit of upkeep or attending a class, whatever. And then before your next PT. So you're not just like taking PTs and then doing nothing in between, because then you're not really going to improve. You're like doing something to address your analytics in between. And that's exactly what you would do in that month, like in the June and July before August, is you would just be taking a PT weekly. In between, you're looking at your analytics and finding, okay, I need to get better at this. I'm going to target this. And again, it could be a really specific thing. So like if you notice on your analytics, I got 2 flaw questions wrong. Your goal could just be, okay, my goal for the next 3 days is to do sets of 10 flaw questions and I only get 1 or 2 wrong or something. And that's what I'm just going to focus on. So it's not like, my plan is not to like cure all my issues overnight, just to eke away at specific things. So that's what I would be doing, whether it's like in those last few weeks between your June test or in those weeks before the August test.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. I feel like I have a short term, intermediate
Good.
term, long term, potentially
Mm-hmm.
strategy. So this is
Yay.
fantastic. This week has felt like, yeah, I feel lost. I feel like I've done a lot, but I don't know how to measure my progress. It feels like I'm getting better, but also it doesn't. So that's okay. I'm okay with ups and downs. I just want a process to follow.
Yeah.
Like, just let me have a roadmap, and no matter what
Yes.
happens, it's okay because I followed my roadmap and I did get better at it. So
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah,
my
I think
goal.
that's the number one thing is that 7th Age is pretty intimidating with like so many materials. And it's like, how do I
Mhm.
actually follow those materials effectively? Like, what do I individually do with those
Yeah.
materials? So yeah, having a roadmap is extremely helpful. So I hope this like gives you a little bit more focus every day. So you're not just like throwing stuff at a wall and being like,
Yes.
okay, let's see what happens. And you're like, okay, here's my goal for today, tomorrow, blah, blah. And if you ever, like, for example, look at the analytics of your PT and you're like, okay, I don't know, like this all looks like random things I've missed. Like I don't see a common thread. Like what can I work on? Either you can just decide, like, okay, I'm just going to mix a lot of challenging things or I'm going to practice things
Mhm.
I've gotten wrong in the past. You can always also like send me a screenshot of your analytics or something if you'd like to. And I can always just tell you, like, oh, okay, here's something I would try to if you
Okay.
want to work on item XYZ. So if you ever get stuck in a point again where you're like, oh, I don't know what to do now, like my roadmap isn't equipped enough for this, you can always let me know and I
Thank
can,
you.
you know,
Thank you
answer
so much.
emails at any moment and tell you, oh, okay, here's
Okay.
something you
Thank you.
could switch gears towards, for
Yes.
example.
Yeah, right. Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Final question. Where is
Mm-hmm.
the Claude Monet sweatshirt from? Because I love that sweatshirt so much. And
It's from Urban Outfitters. That's
oh,
so
well,
funny.
okay, that's fine. You're like, I thought you were gonna be like, I went to the Art Institute in Chicago
No,
and I got it from the gift shop or something.
no,
It's from Urban
it's from
Outfitters.
Urban
Well,
Outfitters.
I love it. I think it's so
Thank you.
sweet and I want one. Okay.
You should check out Urban. Almost every sweater I wear to class that's like in my
Uh-huh.
rotation of I wear them every time is from Urban Outfitters.
Okay,
Almost
great.
every
All
single one.
right.
So
Good
you
stuff.
feel free. You can always ask too. I'll
Yeah,
let you
that'll
know.
be on my off day when I'm not studying. Great.
Yes,
I will either
absolutely.
be following Nicole's study plan or I will be acquiring clothing to look like Nicole.
Acquiring my wardrobe.
Yes.
Yes, love it.
Thank you so much for this.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, I'm glad it was helpful.
Yes, it
Yay.
really was. Thank
Well,
you. Thank you.
feel
Yeah.
free to send me any questions.
Okay.
I'm happy to be of help. I'll always be here to answer any. And yeah, I wish you so much luck. I'm sure you're going to kill it. I
Thank you.
love the positivity and the
Yes.
excitement for the exam. I
Thank
feel
you.
like we're on a similar wavelength and vibe because that was me too. And yeah, I'm sure you're going to do fantastic. I'm
Okay.
super
Thanks,
excited for you.
Nicole. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll see you
Take
next
care.
time.
Okay.
Bye, Emily.
Bye.
Was that good, Eric?
Thank
Yay,
you. Thank you
success.
so much. And thanks, Eric.
Of course.
That
Thank you,
was so
Emily.
easy. All right. Take care and have a good. Are you teaching classes today? Is that what you said?
I am. I have
Okay.
3 classes.
Okay.
So you're
Wow.
in Eastern time, so like 11 to
Yeah.
12, 12 to 1, and 1 to 2:30 today.
Nice. All
And
right.
then
Great. Cool.
got some
Maybe I'll pop
TikToks to
in.
film.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'd
Thank
love to see you
you.
there. Thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
Emily.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.